Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today I'm with Mini and I'm testing out their new electric car, which is behind me. It's a shame that the weather is not any better, but it is the middle of February and we're in the UK, so what do we expect? It's going to have its work cut out for it because being electric, it doesn't like cold weather, and obviously being rain, we're going to have windscreen wipers on, the heating on, we're going to have headlamps on, etc. But this is a true life test, so I'm really looking forward to jumping in and trying it. Before we jump in, I must say that I'm really impressed with the way it looks, because to me it looks like a normal combustion engine Mini. It has normal alloy wheels on it, and yes, there are a couple of telltale signs, like you'll see where the big inlets are normally. In the front here, we've got a lot less openings because there's no combustion engine there and it doesn't need all that cooling and breathing. But we have got a few little yellow badges on it designating that it is an electric car, and where the fuel filler is normally is where you plug it in, which is really clever and unique. And when you step inside, as we'll see on the journey, it's got the new digital dash, which is actually going to trickle down into other regular combustion engine Minis rather soon. Before I get too cold in my t-shirt and brave it out with my Mini umbrella, I'm going to jump inside and you can join me in there. Okay guys, well at least this is going to be a real representation of a test for an electric car. It's 5 degrees outside and it's pouring with rain, so batteries don't like cold weather, and when it's raining you've got your windscreen wipers on, my headlights are on at the moment, I've got my aircon on in here, so it's really taking a lot of strain, or putting a lot of strain on the battery and running gear of this car, because obviously in a combustion engine car it just means that your alternator has to work a little bit harder to keep the juice flowing in the car. I've actually been driving this car now for about half an hour, so I feel like I'm kind of getting to grips with it. Does it feel like a traditional Mini? Well, yeah, it does. It feels a bit heavier through the turns, maybe a little bit top heavy, and that's to do with the fact that it does actually sit a little bit higher than a regular Mini Cooper. I read online that some people complained about the ride being overly firm when they test drove them out in, was it Miami last month, but actually I don't think the ride is too bad at all. But remember, I've got an M2 composition which is quite stiff, so I certainly don't think it's unbearable, and we're on some pretty gnarly Oxford roads in the middle of winter, as you can see, or maybe you can't see because the rain is now so heavy outside. Before we got the cars this morning, we were really fortunate enough to have a look around the Mini plant in Oxford where all these cars are built, and for me that's fascinating. I was lucky to visit the Audi RS factory only last month in Germany, and now being at the Mini factory, it's just amazing. I find that sort of thing really fascinating. The first stage of production is very robotic, and then it becomes much more labour intensive, and there's lots of people there. I think they employ well, they have 800 people shifts, so they have 3 shifts, and it runs for about 22.5 hours. The hour and a half that it's not running, the robots and machines that they use are basically getting maintenance done to them, because as you can imagine, it's just working relentlessly. In fact, they pump out a Mini every 67 seconds on average, so think of it as every single minute there's a Mini popping out the end of the production line. There's even like a finish banner at the end, which is pretty cool. It was really interesting to see that these Mini electrics are actually built on the same production line as all of the other Minis, so there's no disruption. It's really impressive actually, because when you think about how different this is to an ICE car, I certainly was not expecting, you know, the car to be built and share the production line with all of the other, I would call them normal. At the moment they're normal and these are alien, but soon that's going to change obviously. But yeah, really impressive. And around 1 in 8 of the Minis being built today anyway were Mini electrics, so It's quite a high number, quite a high percentage. What are we going to be paying for these mini electrics? Well, they start at about £24,500 on the road after the government grant, and they go up to just over £30,000 for the top spec level 3, which this car is. So it's got lovely leather, it's got nav and Harman Kardon sound, and pretty much every single optional extra you could imagine. It's really nice in here. We've got a big pan roof, and what I love most about this car actually is the fact that it's got regular mini wheels on it, not those plug socket style ones that I'm really not a fan of. I think they just look a little bit odd, but it doesn't matter because Mini give you an option on all of the level 1, 2 and 3 at a no cost option to swap out for more regular looking alloy wheels, which I think is a great thing, because if you want to look like you're driving an electric car, then you can have all of the yellow trims and the plug socket style alloy wheels. But if you want your Mini electric to look like a normal ICE Mini, then you can go for regular looking alloy wheels and get rid of all the yellow trims on the outside. So yeah, it's a really cool idea, and I like the way that Mini are giving customers their option to mix and match. They've always done that. In fact, Mini, you've always been able to, you know, you've got a massive array of trims and wheels and colours and roof colours and wing mirror cap colours and all sorts. It's really cool, and it just means that you very rarely see the same spec Mini out on the road, and if you want something really funky, then you can have that. Just to give you an idea of what monthlies would be on one of these Mini electrics, £4,000 deposit, say, you're looking at about £299 a month for the level 1, so the base spec, and about £399 for this, the level 3. So I'm guessing the level 2 is probably about £349 a month. When you look at it spec for spec compared to a Cooper S, say, you actually get a slight bit more equipment or value for money with the electric, which is really impressive when you think about the technology, etc. must be costing Mini a lot more money. So what sort of power figures is the electric motor putting out? Well, we're talking 184 brake horsepower equivalent and 270 newton meters of torque. But more importantly, as with all electric cars, at any speed, you put your foot down and it's just instant. You're just getting all of that power and torque instantly. And if you've never driven an electric car, and I talk about this a lot when I drive electric cars, it is quite amazing actually, because you've always got it there. You've got such amazing pickup. It's just like, yep, I want to go, you put your foot down and it literally disappears down the road. Of course, in something like Tesla or more powerful electric cars, that's really enhanced. But even in something like this, if I put my foot down, that feels like a lot more than what we're used to with 180 brake horsepower, because in a normal hot hatch would say 180 brake horsepower, that figure is only available right at the top of the rev range, so you only really feel it for a second or two right at the top, whereas in this, you put your foot down and it's like, oh. As you can see, the conditions are dreadful out there. It's freezing cold, so the tyres are cold, but it's finding grip really well. Like, it's literally laying that down, and part of that is this new, I think they call it the ARB traction control, and obviously BMW use it in their new 1 and 2 series as well. And it's a far more sophisticated traction control to what we're used to in the past. So instead of like using brakes to hold back the wheel from spinning, or a really slow sort of talking to the engine and again shutting the engine down and being a bit over intrusive, now it works very fast. And in fact, you can feel it working, but you have to really be sort of concentrating on it to feel it pulling it back, because it definitely doesn't kill the power. We'll come into here using regen braking. I'm not actually using the braking. Out of here, put my foot down, I can feel the right front tyre just pulling again out here. I can feel that left front, but it's not being intrusive. I'm accelerating out there. It's still giving me some acceleration. It really does feel good. I thought it might have been a bit of marketing talk, but actually in reality, in these terrible conditions, it works really well. It has a quoted 0 to 60 time of 7.3 seconds, which is only 3 or 4 tenths slower than, say, a Cooper S. but if anything, it feels faster than that, just because the power is ready instantaneously, and I'm sure that it's in gear acceleration times are going to be quicker as well, because anytime you put your foot down the accelerator, it just rockets off. It's only once you get to about 60-65 miles an hour that you can feel those power gains, and the pickup isn't quite there. And that's kind of the story with most electric cars, except for cars like the Taycan that have got 2 gears. Regen braking is always quite unusual and takes a while to get used to in electric cars. And in fact, I've pretty much driven this whole trip just using the accelerator pedal, because every time you come off the accelerator pedal, it slows you down quite significantly. But you soon get used to it, and yeah, and it's actually really nice just using a single pedal to drive around in. There's no 5-door option available at the moment, but I can see there will be, and there'll probably be like a Countryman down the track, and you'll probably end up being able to get pretty much all of the Mini variants in an electric version very soon. They haven't said that that's going to be the case, but it probably will be. Big puddle, big puddle. Oh, water and electrics. What else is different about this particular car? Well, I feel maybe that I'm sitting a bit higher than a regular Cooper, but I don't know. I don't know if, I haven't been in one for a while, so maybe that's not the case, but it does feel like the actual floor pan is a little bit higher. Everything else in here is very familiar, but we've got a lovely digital dash. It's really nice, really compact. Everything is on there, and that is going to be trickling down into the rest of the Mini range very soon. So it's like tech that you're going to see first on this car, and then it will trickle down. We've got the Mini head-up display, which is it's okay, it does the job, but it's a bit distracting because it's like a bit of flip-up glass that comes out of the dashboard. But you know what, it does the job. I can see my speed, I can see my nav directions, I can see the current speed limit of this road, etc. on there. So it's pretty decent. Before we wrap up, I just want to talk about electric cars in general, and I really think that small electric cars like this are going to be the way forward, and at least the initial future, because this could still be a bit of fun to drive, mostly probably because it's a Mini, and Minis tend to put smiles on your face, but it's reasonably light, and therefore it's not too draining on its batteries. It doesn't have a massive range, but not having a massive range means that it's reasonably light. It feels like a completely normal car in here. It looks like a normal combustion engine car on the outside, and at 24.5 grand for the base model, I think that represents really good value. And providing you have somewhere to charge it that's quite easy, and you're not going to be doing extensive journeys, because this one's got a quoted range, I think, of about 160 miles. Just to give you some idea, so I've done 25 miles so far today, but remember it's cold and it's raining, as we talked about at the beginning of the video. I've done 25 miles and I've got 75% of range left. So what does that equate to? That equates to a range of about 100 miles, which would probably be about right. I've been driving it, you know, normally, I guess, a bit like it's a hot hatch, so probably a bit harder than normal, and 100 miles on a 5-degree day I think is pretty good. And with a small car, providing you've got a second car in the household to do longer journeys, I think this is a great proposition. Really cool little fun town car, city car especially. Let's see what's going to happen over the next couple of years, but we might see more, or we will see more and more of these cropping up. Right guys, hopefully I'll get one of these in the near future for a week or two that I can actually live with and do some more extensive videos on. But hopefully you've enjoyed this one. I'm not an anti-electric person at all. I am a petrol head at heart, but you know, if I had the money, I'd probably have one of these in my garage for when I pop into town, see my parents, or do anything London related, because I think there it really makes sense. You know, buzzing around in my M2, sitting in traffic jams, really, you know, doesn't give me any pleasures whatsoever. Thanks for watching as always. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Remember to go over and check out my brand Control and Shift. Yes, I know I have got a Honda electric car on there. Bit cheeky of me, but hey, at least it's electric. And I'll see you guys at the next video. Cheers.